Welcome, everybody. I'm Councillor Martin Horwood. I'm the Deputy Mayor standing in for Dr. David Willingham, who is the Mayor who is abroad. And this meeting is being live streamed to the Council's YouTube channel. So welcome to any members of the public who are watching remotely. And the recording of the meeting will remain online for 4 years. And welcome to, I see 2 members in the public gallery, including, I think, somebody from Balcarras School, who's very welcome indeed, learning about democracy. Please be aware that CCTV and audio recording is now in operation, and the footage and recordings will be held by the Council for 5 months. Please also note that a fire alarm test is not expected, so if the alarm does sound, you should make your way to the nearest fire exit immediately. So, item 1 is apologies. I have had apologies from councillors Collins, Wheeler, Willingham, Joy, Bamford, Beale, Clark and Garthia-Clamp. Does anyone else have any other apologies to add to that? Nope. In that case, that's fine. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Do any members have any declarations of interest relating to the agenda to declare? Nope. Okay. In that case, item 3 is the minutes of the last meeting. These are the meetings of the annual council on the 12th of May. Do any members have any amendments to suggest to those minutes? Or shall I sign them as a true and accurate record? Okay, I'd like to see a show of hands, please. Those in favour of adopting those minutes? That is unanimous, I think. So that is confirmed, and I will sign those minutes. There we go. Right. Item number 12, notice of motions. There have been no notices of motions received. Item number 13 is any other item that the Mayor determines as urgent, which requires a decision. I've just realised I've skipped. Knew this was going to happen. It was just going too well, wasn't it? I do beg your pardon. Communications by the Mayor and Deputy Mayor. On my own behalf, I'd just like to say that I have attended Belmont School's Summer Fete, where I won a teapot in the raffle. And was very impressed by the efforts of the PTA. I attended an impressive achievement day at St Edward's, a wonderful 90th birthday party at Sanford Lido for the Lido, and the very impressive Friends of Sanford Park Summer Festival, where I met a new environmental organisation called Guardians of the River Chelt, of whom I think we'll hear more in due course. David, as Mayor, has had many civic events, as you should be able to see from a list that he's provided. I'm not sure, have those been placed on the website or modern.gov? He's been struck by the diversity of things happening across our town, especially the wide range of things being done to make other people's lives better. When he looks at the local charities supporting those with disabilities, he's reminded how important it is to make sure our public realm is accessible to all. Finally, he wants me to make a shameless plug for the Mayor's charity quiz night. This will be in the Albion Club in North Street on Friday the 3rd of October at 7 p.m. Tickets are £10 per person with teams of 4 to 6 and include a light buffet supper. So there you go, something to look forward to. Right, item 5, communications by the Leader of the Council. Councillor Hay.
It came up as Garth Barnes, but never mind. I thought, I'm not. So thank you, Mayor. Well, since we all last met full council, a lot's happened throughout our borough in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. But this is where we do make decisions and shape destinies and actions that are echoed throughout our communities. So, forgive the pun, but in the golden light of July, a landmark moment unfolded. The planning committee gathered in an extraordinary meeting to consider the West Cheltenham Southern Parcel. The Golden Valley, now a master plan of ambition, promises 3,700 homes, 1 million square feet of commercial space and 12,000 jobs. tech campus rises, aligning with the UK's dream to be a science and tech superpower by 2030. That's Cheltenham playing its part nationally, in my opinion. Housing and regeneration. We're building future homes. So 320 Swindon Road, 2.8 million from Homes England Fuels, new homes there for us. We've got planning permission, and Stella Metcalfe takes the helm as the contractor for that, laying foundations for our tomorrow, our residents. Climate action. Again, forgive me the pun, but we rise. Cheltenham Borough Council boasted its score by 25%, now standing proud in the 6th place nationally on our parks and gardens. And on our parks and gardens, that's in terms of the climate action, is that how much we've improved. And actually, we took a report to Cabinet to actually stop monitoring a particular area because we'd won the battle in there. That's not to say we can take our eyes off the ball, though. 7 of our parks have yet again can wave the green flag, which is again a symbol of our environmental excellence within this borough. Looking at our communities, we've just, last week on Tuesday, we took to Cabinet £136,000 worth of grants that are awarded to 17 of our local projects through the Neighbourhood Fund. So it's the community infrastructure, but the neighbourhood part of that, which is the bit that is there for those that are non-parished areas. We've also been listening to those voices out there in the Community Governance Review, helping to, in our consultation, to shape parish and town boundaries and governances. And those results will be analysed over the summer. And on the 6th of August, Pickthall Park becomes a playground of unity at the No Child Left Behind party in the park. Over 50 activities, all free and all inclusive. Joy is what you'll see that day. Economic growth. Well, Horizon Aero Group is named as the preferred buyer of Gloucestershire Airport, which will unlock new horizons of investment there, we hope. But we are not yet there at the sale. They are just our preferred buyer. So in terms of safety, we stand together with our partners, and there's a summer campaign which ensures our town centres remain safe, welcoming and vibrant places to be. Lastly, we all just had a briefing on the LGR, but please don't forget to share the link for that LGR engagement questionnaire. Please encourage as many of your contacts, personal, friends or professionals, to say what they think in that questionnaire. The data you get is only the data that's as good as the data that's put in there. So it would be great to get a good response. I think that's it this time there. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Yep, don't provoke me yet. Right, it really is item 6 now, which is to receive petitions, but no petitions have been received. And item 7, public questions, but no public questions have been received. So we move to item 8, member questions. And one member question has been received from Councillor Foster to Councillor Jeffreys. So the response has been published, Councillor Foster. Do you wish to ask a supplementary question? Yes. Carry on.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Councillor Jeffreys for his response, but I do need to address what he said at the end of it. My question had nothing to do with the Golden Valley or my response to what was being presented by the officer about affordable housing on that development. And regarding development on the car park, I attended many meetings and I supported the petition against the sale of the car park, but none of that is actually relevant to my question. My question related to what happened after the parish council had declined to buy the car park and Cheltenham Borough Council were left with an asset that they were determined to sell. So to the point, the difference between the original sale price and the asking price is £267,500. So this obviously begs the question, can the member give me the figure that the council estimated it would have cost to have drawn up plans and obtained planning permission before selling the car park? Thank you.
Councillor Jeffreys, can I invite you to respond to that, please?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank the member for their follow-up question. There's a big assumption in there in terms of the asking price. It is only an asking price. It's not an actual for sold price. So I think it's a bit of a red herring. It goes to, I don't know if you all read in the press about that as well. I think it was £600,000 in the press when it actually hit the press. But on the specifics, I can't give you an actual figure as to what the estimation may have been for costs. I will endeavour to have that conversation with officers and try and provide you with that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we now move to item 9, which is going to be Councillor Jeffreys again. This is General Fund and Housing Revenue Account Outturn Report 2024 to 2025, pages 13 to 54 on your papers. Councillor Jeffreys, would you like to introduce this report, please?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Colleagues, I'm pleased to present the General Fund Revenue and Capital Outturn Report for the financial year 2024-2025. This report is a statutory requirement under our financial rules and provides an overview of the Council's financial performance, including both the General Fund and Housing Revenue Account, along with the capital programme and Treasury management activities. As members will be aware, we entered the 2024-25 financial year with an ambitious budget. I say as members will be aware, those members that were at the budget setting meeting, so my apologies for members that weren't there. It was an ambitious budget and one that required the delivery of, it was £2.841 million in savings. Now that will take the total savings to £5.5 million since the start of the pandemic. Now I'm proud to report that despite ongoing external pressures, including inflation, high service demand and the continuing impact of the cost of living crisis, this council has delivered against that budget. We ended the year with a modest underspend of £913. Now, this marks a significant shift in financial stability compared to previous years, when we relied more heavily on our general balances. And while those balances remain below the optimum level of £1.764 million, the plan set out in the medium-term financial strategy gives us a realistic path to replenishment by 2026, by March 2026. Now, our performance reflects strong financial governance and the efforts of Cabinet colleagues, officers and service teams across the organisation. The approved carry-forward request of just over £420,000 will ensure continuity of key projects. Meanwhile, our capital investment programme continues to support delivery of our strategic objectives, particularly in housing, climate action, supporting our local economy, whilst driving forward our Golden Valley development, and continuing to support those most vulnerable in our town through No Child Left Behind. I'd also like to draw attention to the progress made in our treasury management activities and the improved management of business rates and the council tax collection, though we remain aware of the challenges facing many households and businesses across the town and provide support where we can. In terms of housing services, while the housing revenue account has recorded a deficit, decisive action has been taken with the reintegration of services in-house, and we anticipate will drive efficiencies, rebuild services over the coming years. The Outturn report reflects the importance of building resilience into the system, while strengthening our reserves to bring our general balance levels to the optimal level as recommended by our Section 151 officer. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As always, I'm happy to take any questions. My Cabinet colleagues are on hand, as well as officers, in case they get them more technical or my memory fails me. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Jeffreys. So we'll move to debate and voting in a minute, but any questions in the meantime? Councillor Chellan.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the outturn. Report really positive, but we do find that a lot of our residents, now that they see that some of the assets are in the process of being sold, wondering, well, what is that money going to be going on? And particularly, will it have some positive impact on thoughts about the Household Recycling Centre? I didn't want to use the acronym, but I couldn't remember what it was. The Household Recycling Centre. And I think in the outturn report, it does become evident, and through the corporate plan as well, what might be happening with some of the income. But just a straightforward and simpler reply would be, I think, really helpful for our residents. Thank you.
Councillor Jeffreys.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you very much for the question. And I can imagine when there's a media release from the council saying we're selling an asset, that's the first thing people say, well, how are we going to spend that money? I think, obviously, it's quite difficult to translate that in a simplistic way, but there are liabilities attached to any asset we have to sell, whether that be debt payments or liabilities. So there's obviously considerations we need to take into account. It does give us an opportunity to look at how we use that incoming funds, whatever that might end up being after liabilities. But we have got big financial challenges, especially around some of our key priorities. We know we've already committed these long-term priorities. So we've got liabilities we're obviously holding, and also got expenditure for these long-term priorities. So I wouldn't say I'd like to be able to say we can spend X on Y, but clearly there needs to be a conversation. When it comes to the specifics around the HRC, if I can, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'd like to defer to my cabinet colleague to maybe have a thought on that. Thank you.
Councillor Baker, would you like to provide part of the answer?
Thank you, Councillor Jeffries. I mean, as Councillor Chedding will be aware, the household recycling centres across the county are the responsibility of the county. That said, we have got a meeting with the county council at the depot early next month. Obviously, Councillor Horwood is chairman of the appropriate cabinet member for the appropriate waste division at the county. We've already had some conversations about that, and I think the important thing is that everything is in the open at the moment. There's no decisions being made one way or the other. The site is secure; it's not going to be sold off and developed for something else. It's there. We know it's requiring £1 million, probably plus, of infrastructure improvements. So all I would say is, watch his space. We'll have the meeting, and I think the wider issue, probably for the county council, is looking at the capacity of household recycling centres across the county generally. I mean, since ours was put on hold, Wingwall Farm usage has gone up 26%. It's now running at 95% capacity. So that clearly means a significant number of people from Cheltenham are using that facility now. Having said that, I was able to book a same-day appointment. So, as I say, we'll watch the space and we will endeavour to do our very, very best for the county.
Thanks very much. Are there any other questions to this report? No. In that case, we move to debate on the report. Does anyone want to speak to the item in debate? Don't all rush at once. No? Okay. In that case, unless Councillor Jeffries wants to make any final remarks?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
In that case, we'll move to a vote. This is a vote on the 7 recommendations on page 14 of your papers, which I'll take as a set. Can you use the electronic voting system? And the vote is open. And okay, vote is closed. That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, we now move to item 10. This is the corporate plan update, end of year performance report and corporate plan refresh, pages 55 to 112 of your papers. This is a report of the leader. Can I invite the leader to introduce this report? Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So I think I'll start by saying that this is not a rewrite. It is very much a refresh of our corporate plan. So, and it's an overview of what this council's going to do between 2025 and 2028. So it isn't just a routine update. It's a response to real change. With housing services now back in-house, this council has taken the opportunity to reassess its priorities and make sure that the plan reflects both local needs and national developments. So why do we need to do the refresh? Well, for me, there's a couple of reasons. It is, as I said, that return into the fold, as it were, of our housing services in 2024. That meant that our role here has expanded significantly. And the second one is a 2-year review of the previous plan, shows where we've made progress and where we need to do more. And the third thing, I did say 2, but there you go. The world around us is changing fast and the council wants to stay ahead of its curve. Well, I'm sure you'd all agree with me on that. So the plan identifies our priorities haven't changed. It's, firstly, securing our future. And this is about making Cheltenham the UK cyber capital and driving economic growth through innovation and investment. Next comes quality homes, safe and strong communities. Excuse me, the council's put 180 million into affordable housing and is working to make neighbourhoods safer and more connected. Then we look at and turn to reducing carbon, achieving net zero and creating biodiversity. The goal, net zero by 2030. That means greener homes, cleaner energy and more biodiversity. The fourth, reducing inequalities means supporting better outcomes for our community. And this is about making sure everyone has access to the services and opportunities that they need to thrive. And then never forgetting taking care of your money, pretty essential. We are committed as a council to being a modern, efficient and financially sustainable, improving our digital services and making every pound count. As you've just seen, we did perform pretty well. The performance report for 24-25 does show some real wins for us, like progress on affordable housing, cyber infrastructure and digital services, but it also highlights challenges, especially around homelessness prevention and recruitment in planning enforcement. And that's a national shortage. It's not just Cheltenham's problem. So this is a refreshed plan, is about building on what's working and fixing what's not. And we need to stay focused on what matters most to the people of Cheltenham. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hay. Do colleagues have any questions to the leader? Yes, Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Hopefully just a brief question. In a lot of the aims, there's references to by the end of year one, by the end of year two. Is year one 2025 as a whole, or is it the financial year of 2025? What are we defining as the year end?
Councillor Hay.
For me, Ashley, maybe we need to clarify that, or make sure it's clear of what that means in the report, because I think you're right, it's not. But actually, for me, it is 2025 to the financial year.
Thanks. Are there any other questions to the report? In that case, we move to debate on the report. Does anyone want to speak to this report and the recommendations? Councillor Boyes.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to thank the leader for the excellent corporate plan and the work that has been done to progress the priorities, and it's seriously impressive. I thank all the officers and the Cabinet members for driving that forward. However, I note that only the leadership team, the leader and the Cabinet were consulted due to this only being a refresh, and I would like to have just said one thing. The suggestion I would like to put forward, it would be to slightly amend one of the headings under the key priority 4 to continue to build relationships with local, regional, national and international visitor economy stakeholders. We're an outward-looking international party, we're an outward-looking internationalist town. In fact, in our own wording, in the introduction, it states Cheltenham is a world-renowned cultural destination. So why not include that in our priority wording? And whilst I'm on the subject, I'd like to place my thanks on record for the excellent work of Officer Richard Gibson in the international arena, and both Andrew Lansley and Ian George of the Cheltenham Festivals, who've been tremendous in their efforts to work with our partner towns musicians and thus raising our international profile. One last thing, if I may, I think we're missing a bit of a trick here. We could easily be showcasing how incredibly well this council is doing in terms of contributing to the UK's efforts towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We could easily be mapping our 5 priorities to the SDGs, not simply in a box-ticking exercise, but showing our ongoing commitment in terms of our priorities. Like our key priority number 2 works directly to goal 11, sustainable cities and communities, etc. And I would be happy to speak to Cabinet or officers, because I think it's something we can easily do. And I'm actually quite surprised our Green colleagues haven't thought of this. I don't think we need a motion for it. I just think it's pretty straightforward, and we can add real value to our priorities by doing it. So thank you, Chair.
Would anyone else like to contribute to the debate? Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to start to say thank you by saying thank you to the leader and thank you to all of the officers who are involved in developing this refresh. I think it's good to sort of pause and reflect on the progress that we've made up until this point and to take the time to do that before deciding on our way forward. I really like the shift to sort of more vague, overarching key priorities. I think it paints a really good picture, and I think it's a good way to give people a view of what this council looks to achieve. However, when delving into each priority individually, I feel that we could be being far more specific. This is the space for concrete targets and actions. For example, under key priority 1, one of the actions states that by the end of year 1, we will agree a clear social value targets with the main contractor. Now, we're aware we can't say exactly what those targets will be off the bat, as we haven't had those discussions yet, but I think it would be good to know what we as a council would like to see. What does this look like? Does it look like more apprenticeships available to our local community? Does it look like more outreach into schools? It would be nice to know what some of those targets could be, as agreeing to targets suggests we could just agree to nothing. Furthermore, under priority 3, one action is, by the end of year 2, we will complete the construction of the Innovation Centre at Golden Valley, which will be a low carbon building. Now, as far as I'm aware and as far as I can tell, there isn't a wide-reaching definition of a low-carbon building, which means this isn't a metric we can be held accountable to. I feel as far as targets go, there are far more tangible targets we could be setting. Is this project aiming for BREEAM Outstanding? Are we considering the life cycle of the entire building? Are we looking at embodied carbon and operational carbon, or one or the other? From this corporate plan, I think it's all down to interpretation, and I think we could seek to put in place harder lines around what we are looking to achieve. These are just 2 examples from an extensive report, which time and time again sets out some really, really great initiatives and doesn't take them far enough to allow for concrete action or leaves them too open to interpretation. For this reason, I cannot endorse this plan. Thank you.
Councillor Foster.
I'd like to thank Councillor Hay for presenting this plan, which is sort of full of good stuff. But I have got a comment about key priority 2. I'm not criticising Cheltenham Borough Council's targets or its monitoring of its own housing stock, and I acknowledge how very hard everyone has worked during a period of great upheaval and new regulations while the council took back control of its housing stock. And I'm actually very jealous of my next door neighbour who lives in a council house and has a lot of advantages that I don't. And I want to stress that I think that everything that is included in key priority 2 is very worthy. However, in the end of the year performance table, the number of homelessness preventions and relief was flagged as red, and that said that it was as a result of rents rising in the private sector, of rents becoming increasingly unaffordable. So key priority 2 says a lot about council housing and how Cheltenham Borough Council homes are going to set the benchmark that private landlords will hopefully aspire to. But I couldn't find anything in the plan about any interventions that we could take in the private rental sector that would make that come about. And I'm not confident that just setting a good example is on its own is going to be enough. So the plan has already noted that homelessness is caused by high rents in the private sector. So I would like it to see something that showed that the council were going to be more proactive, engaging with the private rental sector to prevent unreasonable rents, which would hopefully have a knock-on effect on homelessness, because those who don't rent from the council also deserve quality homes and safe and strong communities. So I do think there's a glaring omission there in what's been included. Thank you.
Before I ask Councillor Hay to respond to the debate, any other contributions to the debate? Councillor Allen.
Thank you, Chair. I think my only contribution so far would be a response to Councillor Foster, which would be that with the corporate plan, it's clear there's a very strong focus on major development, and with major development comes rooms for private affordable, private market, and also public rented houses. I think the priority of the plan is clearly on securing our future as key priority number one. And as part of that, the council's bringing forward developments such as Golden Valley, Elms Park, and so on to help with this. And I think the law of supply and demand dictates that if there are more houses available, then costs will be reduced, and that is the hope. I assume. I mean, again, I'm happy to be wrong here, but that's the way I see it with the corporate plan: is that it's a focus on house building, on development, on decreasing prices through sustainable development, rather than doing things that are without our control. Thank you.
Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank the leader for the report and for the update of the corporate plan. My understanding of a corporate plan is it's quite a strategic overview of the activities of the council. It's not an opportunity to dive deep into the granularity of what happens. We have a cabinet that runs the council. They have a work plan that they work to. And I'm sure some of the detail that's been requested today is actually something which they've already got in hand and will be dealt with. And we shouldn't really, as a full council, expect to have all of the details there for us, because that's just simply not ascertainable, I don't think. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Harvey. Councillor Took. And Councillor Lucas, stand by.
So I'd just like to go back to Councillor Foster, because I'm not quite sure what the question is. So my understanding is that homelessness is really complicated, and actually it's not just to do with the price of renting. It's to do with mental health, it's to do with dependencies, it's to do with the breakdown of the family, it's due to a lot of things which are all outside our control. I'm not also aware of any way that the council can cap rents or control rents. So I'm kind of throwing the question back to you, because I don't know how we control those things as a council.
I think it's in order to give Councillor Foster the right of reply, since she was mentioned in that. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I'm not an expert on housing, but I have been sort of doing some research, and there do seem to be things that some other councils are doing. One of the things, we've got a terrible problem in Cheltenham. Well, maybe some people think it's not a problem, with Airbnbs. And there have been studies, I'm sorry, I can't quote them, I haven't got them at my fingertips, that show that Airbnbs do drive up private rentals. And I don't know, maybe the council are already doing things, but I believe that we could monitor the Airbnbs. Are we going after those landlords who are not paying a double community tax, what do we call it, rate on their houses? So I believe there are things that we could do as a council. Do we have a register of all private landlords, which we could have? We can intervene.
Councillor Foster, this was a response.
Oh, sorry.
Right of reply, not another speech.
Beg your pardon. I just wanted to give some examples. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Clucas, you've been very patient.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just to say thank you for the question, because I think it's an important one. And one of the things that will be happening when we get back from the sort of summer break in September is a report will be going to the Housing Committee. And that report will be looking at the private rented sector and what we can, as a council, do to work with our private rented sector tenants and how we can assist them. Now, there are things we can't do. It's a matter for government to do. But it may well be that we can, as a council, assist, give advice, ensure things are done properly through agreements that can be reached. And that is one of the things that we're looking at doing. So that will be happening at the meeting, I guess, in September. And therefore, if you wish to come along and ask any questions you have, please feel free to do so. Because what we want is to have an open, decent, honest debate, and I know Julian always wants that as the chair. So we're very happy with that if you want to come and ask the questions, okay? In relation to things like Airbnb, frankly, looking at what's happened in Spain, what's beginning to happen in Italy, in France, this isn't just a UK issue, but it is a government issue. They need to be taking a firm line on this, because if not, you're quite right, it's going to push up rents and remove housing for people who need it.
Thank you. Councillor Jeffreys.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Now, I didn't think I'd speak today on the corporate plan, but people mentioned homelessness. And I'd just like to put out there that if any member has an idea or a suggestion when it comes to alleviating homelessness, don't wait for a council meeting. Put it in an email, pick up the phone. My cabinet colleagues here are all willing, this officer and this council and across this organisation are willing to have those conversations. Because if we're missing a trick, we'll damn well pick it up and try and use it. I know that because I know how passionate some of our officers are and my colleagues are on this subject. When it comes to things like homelessness, we can't solve it. It's national government. When we come to things like Airbnbs and the detriment they have to our communities, we can't solve it. It's national government. When it comes to housing, full stop, we can't solve it. It's down to national government. What I'm very proud of in this town is that on all those issues and many more, this council, colleagues across this council have supported measures to try and alleviate issues when it comes to there, whether it's setting our housing targets and delivering new homes, whether it's supporting those vulnerable people on our streets that are homeless. Whatever it is, we do try and find ways and means around them. And we're only a little district borough council. And I'm very proud of all those actions we do take. So please, colleagues, if there are suggestions, please just throw them somewhere, because don't hold on to it for a council meeting, because then you may get accused of playing politics with it. If you are really concerned, shout about it and somebody may listen. If we're not doing it, I'm sure we'll try it. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Pinniger.
I just wanted to come back to Councillor Davies about the embodied carbon in the Golden Valley development and the business park. I believe that it will be at least paying attention to our climate SPD. And if you check in there on page 27, it does have a number of steps that they should be following. So if you need more information, please just write to me. Thank you.
If there are no other contributions to the debate, Councillor Lynch.
Yeah, I just want to put forward that this is a very real issue and it's here in the room. So I'll use myself as a personal example. I'm more than happy to talk about how I privately rent in one of the most deprived parts of Cheltenham. I am the councillor for one of the most deprived parts of Cheltenham. I've been here 12 years, came from Ireland. I've privately rented that whole time, mostly in the private market, sometimes in the student market, but it's very real, the pressures. And of course, as we've been talking about here, it's a wider issue. It's very synonymous with the wider government. And so in my other hat, I'm in adult social care. One of the most recent referrals I had was a man who's been sent for a care needs assessment because of a housing issue. So his situation is now frustrating local authority budgets. So it is impacting Cheltenham at a local level as well. So I just want to show how endemic this is and how, we know it, we feel it, we live it every day.
Councillor Atherstone.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. When I had the housing portfolio with regards to meeting the costs of the private rented sector, I do know for a number of years, national government was falling way behind the rates in Cheltenham for both 1, 2 and 3 bed properties. And I also know that that was increased, I think about a year ago, but when I assessed it, it was still falling short of the rates that one would have to pay here in Cheltenham. So I'm saying on Councillor TV that this definitely needs support from national government as well.
Okay, I don't see anyone else. So can I ask Councillor Hay to respond to the debate, please? Councillor Hay.
Sorry. I think actually, ironically, all the points that I would have covered have actually been covered by everybody else, which is great. And actually, that's the way it should be. Shouldn't just be me standing here responding to all of that, because that's why we're all here and we're all individual councillors. So great. Thank you very much for that. I think the only outstanding one was Councillor Boyes. in terms of, and I'm not clear on the wording, Councillor Boyes, of what it was you were suggesting. Is it just one word you want putting in there, international? It's a good spot. As far as I'm concerned, that's not a problem to do, because it's right. Because I think I talked about the fact that we're playing to the international stage, so in terms of the Golden Valley. So I don't think I want to sum up any further than that, because it's all been answered before, unless somebody tells me I've missed a point. And actually, the only other one, I think Councillor Harvey actually said about what the corporate plan is that when you actually go in and look at each of these projects, rather like Councillor Pinniger just referred to, the detail is in there on all of those programmes and those projects that we have. What I'm trying to achieve out of the corporate plan is a document that actually is quite an easy read and engages people. If we were to do, I remember actually our corporate plan used to be eons of pages, and nobody ever read it, because you want them. It needs to be short and concise, and if people are interested, they will look further beyond that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hay. I'm advised that since it's your report, you can accept the word international. I think you, Councillor Boyes, might want to advise Democratic Services exactly where that insertion was. So, as amended, we now move to a vote on the recommendations which are on page 56 of your papers. There are two recommendations: to note the corporate plan review and the end-of-year performance report, and to endorse the refreshed corporate plan. I'm looking to Councillor Davis, who I think expressed an opinion. Are you okay for us to take those two votes together? You don't want to vote separately on anything? Okay, so I'll put those two at once. The vote is now open. Oh, and everyone's voted already. Great, except me. So that vote is carried by 29 votes for, 1 against and 1 abstention. Thank you. Right. Well, it's nice to vote before you've been told what to vote on. But anyway. Point of order, Councillor Cleary. I was concerned for you, Councillor Clickers. Right. Item 11. This is a dispensation under Section 85 of the Local Government Act 1972. I think, although it's the leader's report, we're going to defer to the monitoring officer to just introduce this report. Claire, would you like to introduce that?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, members, so this is a report for a dispensation for Councillor Tabby Joy, who has not been able to attend a council meeting for a number of months now. Members will be aware that there is a provision within the Local Government Act that, provided we vote before the end of the 6 months, you can grant a further period of dispensation. So the recommendation in the report is to grant a further period for Councillor Joy of up to 6 months, so until February, I think I was told. That's, of course, if Councillor Joy feels able, then they would be able to return to meetings prior to the end of the dispensation. The dispensation would then naturally fall away, but it's for a maximum of 6 months from today. Up here if anyone's got any questions.
Right. If there are no questions, is there anyone who wishes to debate this recommendation? No. Okay. In that case, unless the monitoring officer has anything further to add. Oh, Councillor Hay, I beg your pardon.
I'd just like to make a comment, really, if that's appropriate.
Yes, go ahead.
Sometimes life overtakes us, doesn't it? And time runs away with us. But I'd like to wish Tabby a speedy return back into the fold. That's just my comment.
I think that's a very good addition, and I'm sure we'd all endorse that. Would you like to vote on the recommendation using the electronic voting system? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item 12 is notice of motions, and there have been no notices of motions received. Item 13 is any other item that the Mayor determines is urgent, which requires a decision, and I haven't been notified that he has determined anything as urgent. Item 14 is an exempt information recommendation under the Local Government Act 1972. So you should have had information of this on the equivalent to your pink papers or on modern.gov, but I have to read the following recommendation in full. The Council is recommended to approve the following resolution: that in accordance with section 100A brackets 4 Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the remaining agenda items, as it is likely that, in view of the nature of the business to be transacted or the nature of the proceedings, if members of the public are present, there will be disclosed to them exempt information as defined in paragraphs 3 and 5 of Part 1, Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972, namely, paragraph 3, information relating to the financial or business affairs of any particular person, including the authority holding that information, and paragraph 5, information in respect of which a claimed legal professional privilege could be maintained in legal proceedings. I see that the members of the public have already left, so that's fine. But I invite members to vote on the recommendation using the electronic voting system. And that is unanimously carried, I think. The public gallery door still open? The door at the top, okay. Just wait for that to close. And